Alright, everyone. Hello and welcome everyone to this prime time, this banger of a show. We are live. This is a historical first episode of Utopian Dreams Podcast. This is also our first ever podcast on the internet. So this is a great big moment for all of us here. So let me introduce you guys to ourselves first. So starting with myself first. This is Subhani Alfi. Then we have Tuan Chaudhuri, who
Hello,
is
everyone.
admin of Life of Nina. Then we have the great Sabik Intisar. Uh, he's a great friend of mine. Then we have, last but not the least, we have Redwan Madin Zidane.
Hey
So,
everyone.
as I said before, this is a big moment for us because we have never hosted a podcast, a live podcast like this before in our life. Though we are big fans of some great big guns in the podcast scene like Jordan B. Peterson and stuff. So as you guys know that a recent issue is actually a matter of concern for all four of us here, and that is the celebrations of 31st night. So for those of you living in Bangladesh, we know that a shocking revelation has been revealed few days ago in the area of Muhammadpur in Dhaka. A child, he was killed. He was dead, but I'd rather say that he was killed because he died because he was very weak in heart. He had a very big heart condition, and the reason for his death was he couldn't tolerate the sounds of the firecrackers that we guys put up while celebrating the upcoming New Year. So not only that, a lot of other things took place as well. We have seen some incidents where fire had been caught in various buildings, especially in Dhaka. As you all know, that Dhaka is the most densely populated city in the whole world. So it's natural. So let's talk about the negative impacts of our glorious 31st night celebrations. So I'd like to give the stage to Sabik Intisar first. So Sabik, you have the floor. Share your
Okay, thank you, Subhani Alfi. That was a very good opening statement. So, before I start talking about this topic, I would like to say some few things. 31st December is supposed to be a night of celebration, a night of happiness where we get together with our families, we have fun, with our friends and relatives, we exchange our optimistic feelings and whatnot. But the problem is, all those happiness are shrouded by the shadows of misery. Because during this time of 31st December and all those firecrackers, especially in a densely populated country like Bangladesh, these are often comes with some risk. This often comes with some risk. For example, like Subhani mentioned that because of firecrackers, you will obviously face huge sound pollutions. And for people who have medical conditions, be it condition or weakness in the heart, or maybe if they have any auditory problems, these types of fireworks and the display of their fireworks can actually exacerbate their diseases. Not only that, because of these exacerbations, those people who are suffering from these diseases might also be at risk of death. And that's what actually happened in the news. But who cares about a child's death when you can celebrate 31st December?
With a
Who
boss
cares
of
of the misery of a mother and a father who just lost his child when you can enjoy the beautiful sight of flames and fireworks and flares in the sky? And to add to that, another problem we're facing is that during this 31st December, uh, we have I have heard of some lockdown restrictions. You'll see that in our midnight, the government authorities would put some restrictions so that people cannot go out and celebrate, especially at the uh, 12 o'clock mark sharp. So what happens is people actually has to celebrate this occasion an hour or two earlier. So since people are not organized, so people don't know when they should celebrate this occasion. Some people would start 1 hour earlier. Some people would start 30 minutes or even 2 hours earlier and so on. In fact, in Cantonment, I've heard fireworks actually 3 hours before midnight happened. So what happens is you're having this continuous stream of fireworks restlessly, and you're not prepared for that. If those fireworks only happen at 12 o'clock sharp, then we could be prepared for the sudden outburst of noises. But since it didn't happen at 12 o'clock mark, we had to brace the noise pollutions all around, and all the people became very sporadic to celebrate this occasion. So there were fireworks all over the place, and like Subhani mentioned, some buildings were uh, subject to vandalism or some flames. Even I reckon some people also were victim of the arson of the flame that was caused by those fireworks. And so you will see a lot of miseries shrouding all over the places in all the districts in Bangladesh. But people turn a blind eye to them because they are blinded by the happiness, quote unquote, and celebratory moments. And they don't want to listen to these people, the cries, the hues and cries of these people, because then that will actually ruin their moment. And so that's my take on it, and I'll let the next speaker take over.
All right. So I think Sabik sir had mentioned about the bad effects of firecrackers on 31st night, but I'd like to add something up to it. You know, a lot of people actually go to bars and buy whiskey, vodka, and several sorts of alcohol and have it at the night with their friends. This wasn't a part of our culture. This never was meant to be a part of our culture. And this never will be a part of our culture. Then how are they doing it? This is exactly my question. I mean, you know, a lot of people actually go to their friend's house in the name of stayover, and in the name of stayover, without letting their parents know, without letting anyone else know, they have several sorts of alcohol and they have all those other sorts of drugs, you know, heroin, cocaine, meth, yaba, and etc. Now, actually, what is happening? You know, I'd not like to mention the name of the person, but 2 years ago, someone actually had alcohol, which was Nemirov, obviously, and he got paralyzed. Like one side of his body got paralyzed. He could never be the same person he was again after that incident had taken place. This happens only in Bangladesh because of the availability of tuning alcohol. That is not real alcohol. Now people go to bars to buy real alcohol and they're buying it without any sort of license. And what are the bars doing? They're doing their business. They're selling like alcohol worth 300 or 400 taka at the price of 4,000 or 5,000 taka. That is their own business. Like you're buying alcohol, for example, Nemirov, at 4,000 taka, which is not even real Nemirov. That is like hand sanitizer. And then you are having it at night and then you are causing harm to your body. On the other hand, why do people do that? Now, why do people do that? What do you guys think? Savik, Alfie, anyone? Why do people actually take drugs?
Uh, Drug addiction is actually a very rampant problem in all of our country. But I actually just received
No, I'm just actually saying that occasion 31st night, you know, like people don't usually drink alcohol that much as they do in 31st night.
Well,
yeah.
can I add something? Can I add something? I think for me personally, I think that it's just a trend. People like to follow that trend.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if someone
Peer
puts up
pressure
a
trend.
if someone puts up a blue LTP, then you will see 50 other people putting up the same blue LTP without knowing the context. So things are like
Blue
that. You
whale,
know,
we
people
have to
just
go
follow the
way
trend.
back. Blue whale, we have to go like way back to 2017 October when people actually died
Yeah,
for a fucking game.
Let me tell you one thing.
Actually
Let me tell
agree
you one
with
thing.
Alfie because I don't think alcohol is an addiction problem per se especially in our country, in our culture. It has more to do with the fad and trends. People actually like to do
Yeah,
whatever is cool these days. So
yeah.
when
Let me
alcohol is
tell you one
cool,
thing.
it doesn't matter if it aligns with our cultural values or our family values. They do it because this is the new trend and this is the new cool thing these days for the young boys.
Yeah.
And
So
then
they
again,
just
Let
follow.
me tell you something.
I have to add something up to the alcohol part. After that, what they do, you know, a basic. Let me actually put a scenario in front of you guys. You know, me, you,
Yeah.
Alfie. Suppose we are not the person we are. All right, we are like these random teenagers celebrating 31st night. So you're coming to my place for stayover. We're having alcohol. After that, what do? We go to the terrace. We actually, you know, light up some firecrackers or whatever the fuck, and then like they go up. We're like, yo, Happy New Year 2022, Happy New Year 2022, and then everyone posts about that. That's it. That's like basic celebration. Afterwards, what happens? Afterwards, do we even care about the aftermath? No, we don't. Let me show you something. I'm going to share my screen to show you that thing. All right? Wait a minute, guys. This is, you guys
Let
won't
me
actually
just
believe
tell you
that this is
something.
actually
Wait,
Bangladesh.
wait.
You guys won't actually believe that this is actually Bangladesh, right? Like, I'm going to show you something. Like,
Wait.
this has to be addressed, guys. This has to be addressed, right? Where is that? Yeah, yeah. So, guys, I recently came across this person on Facebook, and look at this video. Look at this video.
Wait. Man, that's like, are they even human?
This is terrible. Like, suppose I'm sharing this
Are they
person's
even
video,
human?
but suppose it's like not someone else's place. It's like my place. It's like your place. And what to do? What to do? Like, what do you exactly do?
I
What do you
just
exactly do? You just
I
die because of them. That's what
I'll just send him
happens.
over to the policeman.
But
What if
will you still be
I'll
alive
be
to send
even
it to the police if he just fires it to your home? No, you won't. That's the saddest part of 31st night.
I'd be grilled. I'd be like a grilled human. I'd be grilled, man.
Grilled human fry or whatever. I
Let
don't
me
know.
tell
Imagine
you
how would
something.
you feel if that room was your mother's room or your parents' room or maybe your loved one's room. We are now just throwing this news under the bus because we don't care about the people who suffered the actual accident. Just think about that for a moment. Now, people will obviously ignore all these things because who cares about bad news, accidents? Because these happen all the time, right? Because it doesn't matter if you do something for celebratory purposes or for uh, frowning purposes, there will always be some sort of accidents, some sort of misery. So why cherry pick the miserable incidents and uh, give them the spotlight? Won't it create a sort of dark impression amongst the people and ruin their celebrations? So I think that's why people actually tend to avoid this type of news because they don't want to deal with all those uh, sad, the news of misery or anything of that sort. So,
I'd
so
like to
that's
take you back, like 5 to 6 years back, what we used to do during 31st night. Basically, we used to have barbecue with our family and then like sleep. That was 31st night for us. But now for people of the age of 16 to 17, 31st night means drugs, weed, alcohol. That's it. Like, this is their life. I don't know, man, what this Western culture is throwing them into. I mean, this is like really terrible. I can't even blame Western culture because their kids are better than our kids in to some extent. I mean, they don't even touch
I
alcohol
agree.
before the age of 18, right? Like our kids in this
Yeah.
country, are touching alcohol before the age of 18, like at the age of 16, 17, 15, 14, or whatever the hell. And what is 31st night basically to them? To them, it is basically drugs, alcohol, and some firecrackers to create environment pollution for a worse tomorrow. I mean, sunrises are meant to be nice, right? But imagine the sunrise
Yeah.
for those parents whose child died on 31st night at Muhammadpur. That was more like a
Yeah.
sunset for them.
Can you share the screen, please, Savik?
yeah,
Sabik,
yeah,
can
of
you
course.
like show this to us?
Please,
Yeah.
give me a second.
Man, these things are really horrible, man. I don't know if you guys watched Batman versus Superman or not, but in that movie, uh,
And for our audiences, I would like to translate this page.
yeah,
This page basically says that his small child is a patient, heart patient. And then like he's thinking that he might have been very afraid because of the firecrackers that are going up, and he is praying to Allah so that his child gets saved. His child gets saved during 31st night. And on the other hand, he again posted saying that his child had died because of the firecrackers at 31st night. And that is basically a basic example of the celebration of 31st night in our country. I mean, this is like terrible. Things are getting terrible day by day, day by day. The young generation is getting worse day by day, day by day. We have to do something to change it. I mean, like this can't go on for years. We can't actually have a generation full of lifters. You know what I mean? Like not liberals, but lifters. And what
Yeah,
exactly I mean by lifters is that I mean they don't understand the whole political compass. They just go on saying, "Yeah, bro, I'm LGBTQ, I'm nice. Yeah, bro, I drink alcohol. You don't drink alcohol. You're not cool. I'm cool." That's it. This is the basic definition of lifter, not liberal. I have nothing against liberalism. I'm okay if you're gay. I'm okay if you're not gay. I'm okay if you're black. I'm okay if you're white. But if you're like these people who celebrate 31st night uh, by setting up firecrackers in the sky, taking a young child's life who could have been an asset for the nation, then I have no respect for you. Bro. I have no respect for you.
man. If I was like in that person's place who put up the firecrackers that killed this child, then man, I wouldn't be able to sleep, man. I wouldn't be able to live, man. That's like I always say something that pain of regret is always greater and bigger than the pain of being oppressed. So I mean, how can people sleep knowing that they are responsible for the death of a person, man? That's really terrible, man. That's really terrible. What a state.
One more thing, if you haven't noticed yet, one more thing, if you haven't noticed yet, that child actually went through this trauma, this fear of death before actually dying. His innocent heart went through the fear and apprehension of death, which means that he died before he actually faced the physical death. Now think about it for a second. How would you feel if your own child was subjected to some sort of trauma by any third person, or let's say any stranger did something to your children that would be traumatic for his life, or that would give him potentially a PTSD or some sort of negative experience that will haunt him for the rest of his life? Just think about it for a second. This is what actually happened to
Another
you.
reason why, since
Those
you have
people.
mentioned PTSD, I'd like to add something up. Another reason behind drug abuse is like is PTSD and stuff for which people go to psychologists and then the psychiatrists or psychologists, I don't know, man. Like I can't differentiate between that. I've never been to one. Prescribe them with pills, right? You know, like Pace, Ephedra, and so many other sleeping pills. They actually don't use them. They actually abuse them. They actually take 20 to 30 a day, and then their mind doesn't work. So if you're on these pills and then if you kill a child like this, like as you can see on the picture on the screen, can you like move your cursor a bit to phrase this child to actually bring this child to this frame? Move your cursor a bit.
Sorry, I didn't get it.
Can you move your cursor a bit? Cursor to actually show this child. Yeah, this
Uh,
child. Yeah, this child. Yeah. So if they even kill a child like this, they won't feel anything because of the abuse of drugs. So another thing is that your prescription or your child's prescription should not be what? Should not be
Uh,
misused.
Tuan, wait,
yeah, and
Tuan, let me
I like
say
to add to
something.
that something.
Wait, Sabik,
Suppose that
wait,
child.
Sabik, wait. Let me tell something. Uh, let me share some really like a candid experience of mine, a personal experience of mine, and I know
Yeah,
I
sure.
might bit of a backlash from my own classmates because of this. So in our, I reside in a hostel. So in our hostel, we also have this is 31st night celebration. So uh, most of my friends, like almost none of my friends are drug addicts or even took drugs when they celebrated the 31st night. And I don't think that most of the people even take drugs when they do 31st night celebrations. Like like even our parents or our relatives, they also do even we ourselves did this, though I personally don't celebrate 31st night or any night anymore in my life, but in past I used to. So uh, the thing that I'm saying is that of course, drug is, of course, it's borderline bad, but drug is not the only reason. People who don't take drugs, even they themselves also uh, do this type of things, and
But I would
it's
like
not
to add
like,
up something. I would like to add up something.
yeah,
If you're not into drugs, you basically have a pain, right?
yeah,
You basically have a heart too. So you actually feel for this child, but this drug addict don't feel for this child.
yeah,
That's what I'm trying to
yeah,
say. That's what I'm actually.
yeah.
Also,
So
think
the
about
thing
one
is
more
that
thing.
yeah, sure, go on.
Okay, suppose that child actually survived this ordeal. What would have happened if had the incident not killed the child? You know, he would have got reminded of this incident every time New Year celebration would start. So he would actually be reminded of this event every year.
Yeah,
So
this is called,
the start of every year would be nightmarish for him. Think about it for a second. So how would you feel if you had to live your entire life, especially the beginning of the year, with this fear that you almost died because of these people?
man, this kid is dead. I mean, really, it's really sad, man. We are even doing this podcast like we want to share our views, but this kid is dead, and nothing's going to change that. And I think that's the biggest.
That picture is actually making me sad more and more. Like, can we like cut this window, please?
Okay, I'll just go to the next tab. We have
Seven fire
another
incidents.
news report
7 fire
incidents. If
incidents.
you guys see this
Yeah.
page,
Can you scroll up a bit? Can you scroll up to the headlines? Yeah. So
yeah.
as you can see, this is a news from Dhaka Tribune, and it says that 7 fire incidents reported during New Year celebrations in Dhaka. The fire incidents were caused by flying lanterns, and luckily there was no casualty in the fires. Okay, uh, how do they know that there were no casualties? Because we have just seen that there was a kid who died. Anyway, so can you scroll down a bit, please, to the picture? Yeah. So and that's really horrible, man. Like, man, this is like a like what a like you know, just like a disaster. But this is supposed to be a happy celebration, but this is like a disaster, man. This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy, absolutely freaking crazy. Like, just look at this picture, man. Just look at this picture. This is absolutely crazy. It's like a prison in Brazil.
Also,
I've heard that
considering the
there are riots in
Guys, I have some question to you too. Like,
Sure,
if
go
we
on.
go back to 10 years ago, like, suppose it's not 2022 and it's 2012, did you ever
Yeah.
record this sort of incidents? Did you ever hear about this sort of
No,
incidents?
no, no.
Nothing. So then what
That
is
this
happening? Like, is this solely the incidents, or is this actually related to our whole generation that is changing day by day, that is becoming, I mean, I don't know, how do you describe this generation? I mean, the Gen Z generation is becoming what? And I don't have any words for that. Like, spoiled, maybe. I I can't even say that what they're doing is basically, getting spoiled. Like, that's worse than, that's even worse. 31st night, you get out in the streets, you can sense the whole thing. You can sense the whole thing. On 31st night, I had ordered pizza for myself at night around 12 or 11, 12 or 1 a.m. Sorry, and then the pizza came. I went outside. I was terrified, man. I was very terrified because when I got out, I could actually hear all these fireworks, all these firecrackers, everything. In front of me, people were like flying what they call in Bangla fanus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like there were bombs, there were fire bombs, everything was present there. Like, that was such a terrible experience for me,
This is
considering that
actually
was night.
hazardous, by the way. This is actually risky. Like, if something like comes close to you, you can get into real trouble, man. This is
Uh,
actually risky.
that was a
This is
pretty
actually
much
scary, man. It's actually scary. I live in
scary.
Kumilla cantonment. As you guys know, that cantonment, I can say about Dhaka cantonment, but Kumilla cantonment is actually a safe place. Alhamdulillah, it's actually a safe place, but uh, I wasn't in Dhaka, so I can say about that, but I can imagine like the sufferings you guys went through, all those things. Like it's like, as you see in movies, like, asteroids or what, falling from the outer space. It's like
Don't look
that.
up. Don't look
Yeah,
up. Probably the movie name was Don't Look Up by Leonardo DiCaprio.
yeah,
Okay, I think we have to focus on another thing. For example, imagine yourself being stuck on that specific room, on that specific balcony. How would you feel? And compound that problem with the fact that since Dhaka is densely populated, so even
yeah,
if you had called the fire department, they would actually be stuck in the traffic jam.
Bro, fire
So,
yeah,
department would have been celebrating 31st night rather than being stuck on the traffic jam.
yeah.
so you can see that not even the fire department, not even the people are coming to save you. You're just trapped. You're just wishing so that
I
you
mean,
can
I guess
just.
they were doing that. Otherwise, like, this fire will
The only
stop,
option
man.
you really have is to wish for a peaceful death. Really, you have no other ways to get out of that place. And the fire can actually spread very faster because you see the buildings are very congested and uh, are side to one
The
another.
main problem is the electrical lines. I saw one video where a lantern was stuck, stuck between two electrical lines. So that's the main problem. Man, just imagine if fire gets caught in one of those electric lines. And I like one of the riskiest places is Puran Dhaka, which is old Dhaka, and I went to old Dhaka a couple of days back, and the place is insane, man. The roads are so narrow. There are so many electrical lines here and there, here and there. It's so unplanned, and Dhaka is like it's not just the most densely populated city in the world. It's also very unplanned, and I'm sorry to say, but it's very unplanned. The buildings, the constructions are constructed in a very unplanned way.
Man,
There's
Dhaka
no
is
proper planning.
unplanned. Dhaka is unplanned. For this reason, it is like the most polluted city in Bangladesh, in the whole world, in fact, right now. I mean,
Yeah.
it would be better if we can
If
actually
you look
open
at
that
the
article. That
look
was
at the
shared by
air
the
index,
Business
everything is
Standard, I guess. The Business Standard has shared it.
yeah.
Dhaka being the most polluted city in the whole world.
Yeah.
Can you like Google that up? Like Dhaka being the most polluted city, Sasabi.
Just give me a second, please.
Yeah, just
Not polluted, but not populated, polluted city.
Oh,
We're talking about the planning of Dhaka. Most polluted city, most polluted city. Most polluted city 2021. Dhaka. Add Dhaka to it. Yeah, there you see Dhaka. Dhaka was most polluted city. The Financial Express, sorry, my bad. That was not the Business Standard. The Financial Express had shared that. You know, top stories right there. Top stories. Yeah. There you go. 2 days ago. Top stories, top stories, top stories. Alfie, can you help him locate? Yeah. There you go. That is it. Dhaka, world's most polluted city. Have a look at it, guys. Have a look at it.
this looks like a dystopian world from another sci-fi movie.
sorry
The
guys.
densely populated city of Dhaka.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no
Imagine
Don't
worries.
living
worry.
there and being stuck
Uh,
in traffic jam
statistics
exactly in that
differ
place.
from statistics differ from newspaper to newspaper, news portal to news portal. So that's not a big deal. But yeah, like generally speaking, Dhaka is one of the most, like, what should I say? It's one of the most toughest place to live for a human being in the whole world. It's a really crazy place, man. And if you add this 31st night celebrations to this crazy place, man, this place is absolutely, like, what should I say? I don't have words to describe. Absolutely insane.
Who
Absolutely
has
insane.
words to describe it? That's insane, man. That's insane.
Also, just think about. I saw some Facebook posts just said that the birds, the animals, dogs, they were threatened by those sounds and those like noise pollutions and stuff. Just think about the animals as well, not just humans, but the animals. They also lived in much fear when those firecrackers went up.
Not only it is very
Just look at the picture, man.
polluted, it is also.
And
You see some
it's
people on the
crazy,
top of the bus.
crazy, man. Dhaka is
This picture
really
actually captures
crazy.
all the things that we're talking about in Dhaka.
Sorry, did you ask me any questions? Sorry,
Also, you can see also you can see a man walking in the middle of the street with a stick and a bag.
yeah, crazy,
Probably
man.
is
It's really
collecting a
crazy.
plastic bottle or maybe something like that. But he's also is a reason behind the disruption of the traffic, which is actually exacerbating the traffic jam even more.
Oh,
And the
like,
And
roads are also
I saw a video.
roads are also
I saw a
damaged
video of
and need repairs.
yeah, crazy,
This is
man.
this is actually a very spectacular.
This perfectly sums up Dhaka. This one single picture it perfectly sums up Dhaka. This one single
So
picture it
what else is
perfectly
left?
sums up. Like the vehicles aren't following traffic rules either. There's this person standing in front, in the middle of a highway. This perfectly sums up Dhaka.
Yep,
And
this is
also,
very good.
I think the rider, I think the passenger in the motorbike, I think it's a woman, so she's not wearing a helmet either. I think so. It's crazy.
Oh, you have a sharp eye.
Yeah, but you don't need to even have a sharp eye to like see the real face of Dhaka.
Yeah,
It's
you
crazy.
don't even need a drishti. You don't even need a
Yeah,
good
yeah,
drishti to have a sharp eye.
exactly. Drishti means eye, vision. By
sure.
the
On
way,
that, I would like
or
to say, Alfie, can you
yeah,
actually open your glasses and look?
yes.
Can you see
Actually,
how
without my
polluted Dhaka is?
no. Without I can do something. I can't even say if I have 5 fingers or 4 fingers. Without my glasses, I've been wearing glasses for like 11 years.
Oh, good, oh, good, oh, good. I thought like you could actually see. I mean, if you could see, this would have been a great deal because imagine a person with a power of -7 plus can with the power of -7 plus identifying how polluted Dhaka is. That's like something else.
Imagine how would you feel if your glasses were bombarded with all those dust particles. You have to like wipe them off constantly, maybe with your
Yeah.
saliva. But even your
Actually,
saliva, your tongue would get
let me tell
dirty.
you guys something. Before the COVID came, I actually I actually began wearing masks before the COVID came because in the later parts of 2019, the air index of Dhaka it went like haywire. So actually, it was before COVID that I started wearing masks. So imagine a person like me who has to wear glasses 24/7, and I have to wear masks at the same time. So it's really difficult for me to walk in the streets of Dhaka. It's really difficult for me to wear masks and glasses at the same time. So it's really difficult for me to actually it's difficult for me to actually even stay in Dhaka.
The weather is very uncomfortable too. If, for example, the weather here is obviously very humid. Bangladesh is actually one of the most humid country, if I remember correctly. So imagine staying there and also sweating at the same time, but your sweats are not going away because of the high humidity. How uncomfortable it would be. You are not only drenched in all those pollutants and dust particles, but also you are drenched in your own sweat and you're smelly. So, I mean, all these things combined, I think it's even worse than hell. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think of it. I don't think any people have even imagined how it feel to be in such a situation. Yeah,
It's also bad for our health, man. Like for those of us who are like you are concerned about physical health, right? You have all these fantastic abs. And I keep on saying this. You have all this. You are actually a very uh, self-conscious man. So it's really difficult to like even if you think about the foods that we have in Dhaka, they're soaked in all those
yeah.
chemicals
The
and
local markets, the foods that are being sold in the local markets will obviously be uh, obviously these all these dirts will ruin all those fruits, all the vegetables, and you would be eating that. And some people don't have the water supplies or facilities for pure water. They'll actually wash those dust particles away from the foods, from the vegetables and fruits with those polluted water. Think about how hazardous it is for your health. And you don't need to actually be a chain smoker. You can be you can be a smoker just by breathing the air there's there in this
You
picture.
can be a smoker by being a
It will
citizen
do
of Dhaka, actually. That's like what
probably Delhi.
Delhi and
also by the
Dhaka
way,
too.
this like this virus of Dhaka, it's also like spreading to the rest parts of Bangladesh as well. In Chittagong, like Chittagong was one of my favorite cities way back, but right now Chittagong is also a hellish place. Like especially if you talk about the roads in Chittagong, it gets clogged in the rainy season, and I don't know what the authority does over there. But I hear many stories. I hear lots of stories from my friends who live in Chittagong. Like it's also turning out to be another Dhaka. And the place that I'm residing in right now, Kumilla is also not a great place, like the best place either. Like they have all these constructions going on. They have made this new flyover, which is great, but it has created a lot of traffic jam. Like even in this small town like Kumilla, you have massive traffic jam. So just think about it. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
Why is your mic muted?
Wait. I had a bit of a problem here. So yeah, that's the thing, man. Let me tell you something. Have you guys watched Batman versus Superman movie?
Yeah, we have. I have. It's sure that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it released way back. So in that
That's like
movie,
way
Bruce,
back in 2017.
no, not 17. It was in 16. It was like 6 years ago. So in that movie, Bruce Wayne,
6 years ago or 7 years. I'm like confused. 5 or 6 years ago. Whatever, man. I had watched it.
not a big deal. So in that movie, Bruce Wayne, he was the alter ego of Batman, as we all know. So in one of the scenes, Bruce Wayne was seen talking to Alfred, and he said something about Superman against Superman that if Superman possesses even 1%, if there's even a single uh, possibility that Superman can wipe out the entire universe, then we must take that as an absolute certainty. So I'd like to say that if 31st night celebrations, if this thing, the negative impacts of this celebration, if it poses even 1% possibility uh, of like killing a person, that we must take this as an absolute certainty. Like we have already seen a child got killed, so it's high time that we must take it seriously. So I think government should really make some
Um,
rulings.
Rather than the
The
government, I
authority,
have some suggestions to make. I mean, you really
yeah,
need to learn how to accept yourself. Like, you don't have to do all these drugs and everything to get accepted to your friends. You don't have to do alcohol on 31st night to get accepted to your friends. You don't have to do fireworks on 31st night to get accepted to your friends. Rather, be
yeah,
yourself and get accepted to the whole world. That's what people need to learn. That's what people need to know and then again, people need to understand that what is fun to one might not actually be fun to another person. I guess there is an idiom related to that. Can you like tell me like what is a game to one might be I forgot the idiom, whatever, man. Like it's not an English examination, so I don't care. So people should really accept themselves, and people should actually accept that their fun is actually taking lives away. Their fun is making some mother or some father cry. Their fun is making some child cry at night. Because suppose we all have our parents, right? Suppose some of our parents have high blood pressure, some of our parents have diabetes, some of our parents have heart issues. And again, high blood pressure is also related to heart issues. Diabetes can also I don't know, like diabetes basically makes us a person very weak. That's what I've seen happening to my mother, right? So, what if these fireworks actually affect our parents, and what if it takes away their lives? What if me and Alfie, me, Alfie, and Sabik, suppose we are walking on a road, and suddenly a firecracker comes to us, like they are firing it down the road, and like it's going straight rather than going up because of a minor fault, and takes our life. Like there's nothing to do. Our parents will be sad, and if the vice versa happens to our parents, we will be sad. And this is basically becoming very bad. Like this is becoming the reason of death for everyone. So if people actually accept themselves and refrain from doing all this, then we might have a better Bangladesh. We might have a better tomorrow. We might have a better sunrise on the next year. That's all from my side.
I would like to add
I'd
to
like
this.
to.
Hi.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure, go
you
on.
know what's worse than death? You know what's really worse than death? Suppose you're walking down the same street and suddenly a firecracker hits your arm and you become permanently disabled. Now, how are you gonna live for the rest of your life? And
I
what job you're
mean,
gonna take?
this is how you're gonna live. Like, have anyone watched that movie? Amitabh Bachchan acted in that. What was that movie? Like Gabbar cuts off two hands of a person and then like he has to live like that for his whole life. Yeah,
Bollywood.
there's a movie like that. Like I forgot the name. Amitabh Bachchan and Dharmendra was in that movie. Let me Google that movie right now.
Now, in that case, you're not only living with your trauma, you're also living with no hands.
Yeah, like suppose a firecracker, suppose gets into my eyes and
Yeah,
I'm
the
blinded
movie's
for.
name is Sholay. The movie's name is Sholay. A police officer, his wife gets killed in front of him, his children get killed in front of him, and then like the Gabbar guy cuts off both of his hands and like he has to live like that for 30 years of his life. That is like a disaster. I don't know
Like
how.
suppose I'm blinded by one of those firecrackers, then like uh, I'd be living the rest of my life without being able to see my love of my life. So imagine that pain. That's really painful, man. I'd like to finish my part by saying matters, bro. Like life matters. All of you watching this video, just remember that life, it matters, man. And like if you're a human, then you must have like one bit of realization after hearing that news of that child getting killed. So please wake up, wake your heart up, just realize that life, it matters.
All right.
Like
So this
celebrate
is up
all you want,
for
celebrate,
this is it from
celebrate
us.
inside your houses, but just think about other people's lives.
So this is it from us, and I'd like to suggest that people actually celebrate 31st night by doing barbecue rather than all these fireworks. And if these fireworks are done, then they might be done from the government, like as the government do it on 26 March, on 16 December, and several other days. So this is it from all of us. Thank you very much, guys, and hopefully we'll have a better 31st night and a better New Year on 2023.
Yes, and Utopian Dreams will be back with a brand new episode next week. So stay tuned
Thank
for
you.
that one. And it's a big good night from all of us here. Unfortunately,
Zidane
our friend
couldn't
Zidane
join.
Redwan couldn't be with us because he had a really big family issue. So because of that, he couldn't be present with us. Sabik, cap it off. Say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's about it. I don't have any
All right.
words
Sabik doesn't have anything to
describe the
add, so
situation.
that's it,
So,
guys.
so it's first
I'm
ever
wrapping
podcast.
the podcast up
Yeah,
right now.
we are sorry if we are sorry for all those hiccups and bufferings that we showed to you guys. But yeah, I will be back with a brand new episode, and we will try to improve ourselves, inshallah, in future. So yeah, thanks for swallowing this video. Good night.
Thank you. Good night, guys.